Good evening, everyone. I hope I'm audible to everyone, and welcome to the second session of Leader Insights with Leader Life Sciences and our exclusive partner Tecan. It's really great to have you all here, eager to learn about the Tecan Fluent way of lab automation. This particular session, again, we have a girl power team right now, and it's really great to see a lot of you joining in as well. And the session is especially for the lab dwellers, for those whose hands are all enduring the tough task of manual pipetting. And I think we have found a fluent way to make your life easier. And to speak about that, we actually have two wonderful ladies with us. One is Divya V, our very own technical application specialist from Leader Life Sciences. And she's a very special person and who's created tides in this region. She's also named as the five most inspiring leaders in the GCC healthcare by the Arab Insights Care, and we have really great time with her as well. Welcome, Divya. So, and we have Diane, all the way from Dr. Diane, from all the way from France, from the Tecan family with us. And she is the training and application manager for the EMEAI region from Tecan. And she is one of the tough nut that knows the ins and outs of all these mechanical giants that comes and makes our life easier. So without
Thank you,
further
Malavika.
ado, let's get into our topic, automate your lab in with TCAN, and let's find out what is the fluent way. Take the floor, Divya.
Thanks, Malo. Good afternoon, everyone. It's a pleasure to join you all today. So, some science facts about automation, the whys, the hows, and when to automate. So, when we talk about automation today, what are we actually talking about? We're talking about the complex, evolving landscape in science and how the labs have to cope up with this complex dynamics. And transitioning from manual workflows to completely automated systems. It's not just about saving time, because oftentimes when we meet end users, the first question they ask us is, how fast is your robot? But I'd like to say that automation is just beyond saving time, it's beyond speed. It's about building reproducibility, scalability, compliance, consistent, and traceability into the way we do science. And I'd also like to add this point that automating workflows doesn't mean bringing the technologists or the scientists out of the lab. In fact, it's more about giving them back the time for interpretation, innovation, and insights. And the Tecan Fluent, very true to its name, kind of brings this concept to life by combining precision liquid handling, modular workflow designs, data integration, and also centralizing the entire automated workflow data into one platform. Tecan is actually built to evolve and adapt to your scientific needs and not the other way around. Because let's face it, science needs to be fluent, not repetitive, right? So let's delve into the whys of automation. Why do we have to consider automation? And why is it very important and it's not optional? So to begin with, the biggest driving force behind automation is not the necessity to save time. It's actually reproducibility, the consistency in the quality of the data that's being produced. Because reproducibility is a major concern in most of the clinical diagnostic settings, research and regulated environments. Because every bit of data, every automation, every step along the way has to be logged, it has to be traceable, and it has to be auditable, right? And also there is variability when automation happens, when different workflows happen. And there's variability when you have many people performing the same workflow, which is not something that you would notice in automation because it's the robot that's doing the work. Sometimes you got to trust the robots. And the second thing is also, as I had earlier mentioned, is traceability. End-to-end traceability, especially with end-to-end audit trails, where every part of your workflow, every pipetting step, and every movement within the lab, every movement within the automation platform is recorded, it's logged, and it's auditable. And the third thing being is that, of course, automation enhances throughput. That goes without saying. So as the sample volume begins to increase, at some point you have to maintain data quality without overloading your teams. And that's when automation comes in handy to maintain the quality of data without compromising on the flexibility and the data integrity and the quality of science being produced. So in short, consistency, scalability, reproducibility, and traceability are some of the major points that you need to consider, or it's very crucial when you're talking about automation.
Yeah. So now it's not an optional thing anymore. But how do we know what is the situation where the automation is necessary, Divya?
So there is no such thing as a right time to automate. But however, there's a tipping point, because when you look at manual workflows, when you realize that your manual workflows are actually limiting the progress of science, that's when you know it's the right time to automate. As I had earlier mentioned, as your sample volumes begin to increase, and as they grow rapidly and faster than your teams can actually process it, that's a very strong indicator that you need to start optimizing your manual workflows. Because when the pipetting becomes repetitive and the pipetting becomes cumbersome, and all your liquid handling steps are so repetitive that at some point it leads to manual fatigue, it leads to bottlenecks, that's when you know that it's time to start automating. And also when you begin to notice an increase of frequency in error, or when there's variability between operators, and there's variability in terms of the data that's being produced. Because, for example, when we're talking about reference labs, each time the data that's produced has to be standardized, it has to be optimized. You cannot have variation in data, especially when you're producing clinical results. So in such cases, again, automation is very, very important. And it's also about saving time. And then the other key to automation is having auditable results, end-to-end audit trails, especially in biobanking and in clinical facilities, which is very crucial. So I would not just limit this to, talking about regulated environments or about clinical settings. Let's talk about research facilities as well, where you have a core central facility and multiple research groups want to use the same platform. Yet again, in this situation, you need to consider automation because you can accommodate multiple workflows into one automation platform. So these are some of the steps, some of the considerations, or when you know it's the right time to automate. So just to simplify it, I'd like to look at it as a traffic signal for automation. On the slide, you can see the different color codes, which represents the urgency of automation. Green, so far so good. Everything's running smoothly. Yes, automation can enhance my workflows, but it's not crucial yet. And yellow being, I have started noticing variability. I have started noticing bottlenecks and manual fatigue. So this is a cue to actually start planning your automation. Red, automation is not optional anymore, it's a must. That's when you've actually started compromising on the quality and the consistency of the data being produced. So in this case, it's high time that you start automating your workflows. Hope I'm clear. And if you have any questions towards the end of the session, you can shoot your questions. So in short, I'd like to say that, start or begin to automate when compliance, consistency, and scale is being limited by manual workflows. And let's talk about how to automate the Fluent way. As I had earlier mentioned, the Tecan Fluent is really fluent in the language of science. Name it and the platform can do it for you. Any workflow, any protocol, you can optimize it, you can play with it, you can tweak it, anything, anytime. So how do you actually automate? I would say that the key to a successful automation strategy is to approach it in phases. So when I mean phases, when you have a lab, and when you have multiple workflows happening within the lab which are interconnected, it is very important to map and identify the workflows that require automation. Break it down. Look at those high volume liquid handling steps. See where the errors are and what needs optimization, what needs to be automated. So that's the starting point. And the other thing that you need to think about is define your automation goals. What are you actually looking at? Are you looking into optimizing for throughput? Is it reproducibility? Is it traceability, or is it a combination of three? Because that's when the Tecan Fluent platform comes in handy, because you can have multiple goals aligned and configured and integrated on one single platform. And the third thing that you need to consider is plan your flexibility. You do not have to automate all the workflows, all the protocols in one go. For example, because this is something that's easy, let's consider a biobanking workflow. And biobanking creates an ecosystem to have multiple workflows and downstream applications interconnected, be it nucleic acid extraction, library preps, proteomics insights, multiple workflows. So in that case, you don't necessarily have to have all of them automated. You can begin with sample aliquoting, sample storage, or in that case, you can just pick one workflow, for example, a nucleic acid extraction workflow to be automated. Refine your workflow, optimize it, and then proceed in optimizing other downstream applications. And one other thing that you need to understand is anytime you consider automation, it has to be modular. Start modular. Design your workflows in such a way that you will have one workflow up and running, and the rest will fall into place. And when we talk about flexibility and scalability, Fluent is an open and a modular platform which will not just meet your current workflow needs, but it also sets a future-proof environment where you can expand and configure the platform to accommodate multiple workflows in the coming years based on your workflow requirements. And I think Diane will be able to give you more details, and she will delve into the technical specifications of the Fluent platform. Over to you, Diane.
Thank you, Divya. Thank you for this very interesting introduction, why and when to automate. I will now give you some information and insight about our Tecan Fluent platform, which is, I would say, the best platform to start with automation, because it will offer you simplicity, productivity, and confidence. You can get more and more confidently. Why Fluent will help you to keep your life simple and smart. Our platform embedded different functionalities, such as an intuitive touch screen, camera to check the deck, and this feature will help the daily use of the end user with the instrument. Instructions are very basically shared on the touch screen. Step by step, it can start a protocol. The camera will ensure that all the objects, labwares, such as plate, tips, reagent, are correctly positioned on the deck before starting. If there is an error, it can simply open the door and the run will stop. It can change the work table, close the door again, and the run will restart where it has stopped. In addition to that, our software allows reducing programming effort, because it's a very intuitive software based on drag and drop commands. Many commercial assets are already developed. Of course, the Fluent is an open platform. You can run any kits, either commercial kit, either custom kits. You can develop any assays on your equipment with the support of application specialists, or on your own if you get trained. Next slide, please. So Fluent, keep your life simple. Fluent increase your productivity, because with Fluent you can do more in less time and less space. Less space because the design of the Fluent rely on optimization of the space from top to bottom. Top because we can embed LIA HEPA filter to clean air, to work in a clean environment. The deck is a two-level deck, which allow to hide some devices below a main deck, where will be the pipetting steps. When you need the devices on the below deck, you can access it. Also, we have some space in the cabinet accessible by the gripper arm to store some devices which can be integrated in a global workflow. A reader, a washer, centrifuge, thermocycler, whatever. Less time because we have several patents on the move optimization and also on the parallel processing of the arms. It means that you can have one arm moving some plates while a second arm is doing some pipetting steps. You don't lose 1 second of your workflow. The flexibility is a very important parameter when you are talking about automation. Indeed, you are not processing only one kind of assay, one kind of workflow. Maybe you have a daily agenda in your lab and you would like to sometimes work a few numbers of samples, some days a very important numbers of sample, complex protocol. Without Fluent, we can offer you multiple channel arm with 384 channel or 96 channel, and we can also offer an automatic head exchange option. We can also offer 8-channel arms based either on hair displacement for some application or liquid displacement for other application. Our experts, either at Leader Life Science, either at Tecan, could help you to distinguish for which application you would need air or liquid displacement. The robotic gripper arm is the tool to embed if you want a full autonomy of your protocol. If this aspect is essential, when you want to go to automation, the gripper will allow you to, will be your arm, will be the technician hand to move the plates. So we proposed different options to either manipulate plates or tips, but also tubes. We have also an option to automatically change the finger from plate to tubes and the reverse. And in that case, you have a full flexibility and you can manipulate any kind of labwares. Another very good option is the use of fixed tips, washable, or disposable tips. Disposable tips will ensure you is a guarantee of no contamination when you have very sensitive application. The fixed tips are used widely used in some applications, such as ELISA assays or many other applications that we could discuss maybe after. So again, we can help you to decide which technology to use, depending also on your wish. I would like to add that we have the possibility to combine both technology on the same arm, washable tips and disposable tips. The dynamic deck is a Tecan specific option which allow you to change the deck from a protocol to another one. One day you need the barcode scanner, blah blah. You put the option on the deck. The next day you don't need so many space for your plate. You remove it, and below you can find maybe another module, a shaker, a vacuum module that should be used for the specific protocol. This flexibility allow to fit your budget. You don't need to have several platforms, just one would fit all your needs, and allow to run different applications day after day. Fluent comes into 3 sizes according to your need, to customer need. The small one, the Fluent 480, is can position up to 30 plates. It is more or less 1 meter length. The middle one, the Fluent 780, is about 1 meter and a half, and the big one, almost 2 meter, would fit 72 plate. The decision to for the size really depends on the workflow you want to run, the autonomy you are looking for, and the capacity and throughput expected. Of course, with Fluent, you can be confident in your workstation. Confident in terms of pipetting. We offer excellent precision even for very high density plate format, such as plate 1536 well. We offer high precision in terms of liquid detection. We can detect volume as low as 2 microliter. And of course, in terms of data integrity, data traceability, sample tracking, we offer software add-on to make sure your protocol did the workstation prepared the expected protocol, process all samples where they should be. So we have a fully confident solution with the Fluent.
So I think that kind of covers what is the need to automate, how should you automate, or when do you know if you should automate, and we have really deep dived into the Fluent way or the Tecan Fluent way with Diane as well. So now I think we're gonna move into the panel discussion stage, and I already see a couple of questions in the chat. A really great response from you guys, and we have a Q&A session towards the end, and we'll be definitely addressing all your questions. So just moving into the applications part, of course, the lab automation is a very, or the liquid handling is a very integral part of any lab and has a lot of application in the GCC region itself. So we have kind of identified few of them here, and I would like to make the first question to Divya. Why do you think these four are like the key priorities that is happening in GCC right now? Why do you think these are the ones that needs the application of an automated liquid handler here? And then maybe after Divya, Diane, you can chip in on how these workflows can be adapted with a liquid handler like Tecan or even the other ones that we have in Tecan roster.
So when it comes to applications in the Fluent platform, we could go on, and this session wouldn't actually be enough. But
yes, absolutely.
Yeah, but we'd just like to focus on the key research areas and the priorities that we see growing in GCC, especially because most of the initiatives, as we oftentimes say, we say this in most of our calls, the research initiatives are directed towards having precise, predictive, and preventive medical science. So having science that is driven towards precision medicine. And when we are talking about that, that is backed up by multiple different workflows. But however, the key workflows here are biobanking, because biobanking is not just confined to sample storage. It's not just talking about cryopreservation systems, but there is so much more that happens prior to actually storing these samples, the pre-workflow. And that's where the Fluent actually comes into play. So biobanking, we talk about sample aliquoting, sample registration, the storage management, and that's where the Tecan platform does all the job. There's a very interesting feature about the Tecan platform, as Diane had earlier mentioned about the liquid handling arms. So, and then she mentioned about having the fixed tips, the disposable tips, the flexible channel arm. So there's a very interesting feature about the flexible channel arm, which not only supports liquid level detection, but it also works on a principle called the pressure-based monitoring. And that's where the phase separation, a feature, comes into play. So phase separation, it allows you to separate, for example, if we're talking about whole blood. So phase separation allows you to separate the different components in the blood based on the viscosity of these components. And it is a patented feature by Tecan, which has also been identified the biobanking community ISBA. So, and phase separation just makes life a lot more easier because it works on a pressure-based module. It identifies the layer that you want to isolate, it aliquotes, puts it into the cryotubes, job done. So this is one aspect of biobanking, which is sample aliquoting. And biobanking, it actually creates an entire ecosystem where multiple workflows are interconnected. That could be multi-omics data. It could be genomics workflows. It could be proteomics setup, various other things. And that's where Tecan fits in every part of the workflow in different aspects. So one being genomics. So when we talk about genomics data, we're actually talking about the quality of the template that we produce for various downstream processing, NGS applications, library preps, and reproducibility of this DNA template is very, very important because that decides the rest of your data. It decides the rest of your workflows. And when we talk about NGS setups or library preps, the very important feature or something that we often highlight during our discussions is the automated quantification and normalization. So when we say automated quantification normalization, people, this is actually an attention grabber for us. So when we talk about it, people are like, oh, you can actually quantify and normalize. Is it automated? Yes, of course it is. So people go like, do we need Excel sheets? No, you don't. Do we have to manually calculate? No, you don't. The system does it all for you. And that's how easy it is when we say automation. When we mean automation, we really mean fluent automation of science, where you don't necessarily have to do with very minimal manual intervention. And moving on to analytical workflows. Analytical workflows can range from proteomics, metabolomics to sample preps for your complex LCMS and GCMS workflows. And Tecan Fluent really takes care of the nitty-gritties and the very details of the assay setups, serial dilutions, everything, literally everything. And organoids culture. The big thing, the major trend in the region is cell and gene therapy. And that's where the organoids culture come into play, where we're talking about regenerative medicine, stem cells research, culture and expansion of stem cells. So every part of the cell culture workflow can be automated on the Tecan platform. That means when you're expanding your cell lines and when you're looking at certain gene expressions or when you're looking at certain biomarker expressions and you're working on a particular chemotherapeutic drug, and if you have to measure the time-dependent increase of the drug, or if you have to do cytotoxic studies, gone are those days when people were literally sleeping in the labs when they had to do kinetic studies. You don't have to do that anymore. The robot does it for you. So that's how Tecan platform can fit into the various research growing needs of the region. And that is why we have identified these 4 major workflows: biobanking, multi-omics, analytical workflows, and organoids culture. Diane, is there anything that you would like to add in detail?
Yes, what I would like to add is that in addition to the application, we could also mention the purpose of your daily use of the workstation. If you are doing research or if you are doing clinical application, we will probably not provide the same solution exactly. In research, you would expect maybe a more flexible platform because you can run a lot of different applications. It can be reconfigured, maybe not daily, but quite often. Whereas if you are in a diagnostic lab, you want a platform dedicated for one application, very secure, very close. And I think this additional level of information is also required to configure the right instrument for you.
I'd also like to reiterate the point that Diane had mentioned. It's about time and again, we've repeated this multiple times during the webinar as well, modularity and flexibility. That's the highlight of the platform, because this Tecan Fluent is one platform which can accommodate multiple different workflows. And when we say multiple different workflows, we talk about integrating multiple different platforms. For example, but we had mentioned about having an ODTC. For example, you're talking about a nucleic acid preparation where you can have 2 different principles, 2 different chemistries. That could be the vacuum-based, it could be magnetic beads-based. All of this can be supported in one single platform. And that's how flexible the system is.
Also, maybe another comment, especially if you are starting from scratch with automation, really not used to automated workstation, My recommendation is really to think small and look to the future. I always recommend my customer to automate one application to start, and maybe think about the future, how we can upgrade the platform later. But if you want to automate everything in a single project, it can be too big. Too big in terms of budget, too big in terms of change in the lab, because introducing a new platform, you also need your team, your working team in the lab with you. If they are afraid about a very big and complex platform, they will not follow you. The goal is to have an instrument in your lab, but a working instrument.
So guys, I feel like we should move to the Q&A session
Okay.
because I see it's bustling with many, many questions to
Okay.
be answered by you guys. So I think I will start with the first question here in the chat. It's by someone called PK. You mentioned about integrations. Is there a list of third-party equipment that can be integrated to the Fluent or Freedom Evo?
Yes,
Diane, you can take.
we have let's say an official list of standard devices which can be integrated.
Mhm.
So standard, I mean, when you buy the Fluent, you can also directly add these items, maybe an Ineco shaker, something like this, magnet, thermocycler, readers, of course, washers, especially if they are from Tecan. We have also a third-party equipment that can be added through our engineering lab, LabWorks. In that case, there is maybe some additional cost of engineering to integrate this instrument onto the Fluent.
Okay. So I think the next one is a bit of a longer question. Regarding continuous processing on the Tecan Fluent, is the system capable of true walkaway operations? For example, if I have a workflow where a plate is undergoing aliquoting, then moving to thermal cycle, followed by magnetic cleaning step, can I load a new batch of samples onto the deck while the first plate is still processing? Or does the entire run need to finish before a new one can begin? This is by Lawrence Sevilla. Divya, you
Uh,
want to tackle this or Dan? Is it going to?
if I don't know if you
Yeah,
feel to take it, Divya, or should I?
go on.
So I like this question. Thank you very much. It's an interesting one. I would say yes and no. I'm from Normandy in France, and we say that Norman people say yes and no always. So yes, we can do continuous loading with our scheduler software, which is just an add-on, another license of Fluent Control software. Usually we provide this scheduling functionality for ELISA workflow, for a cell culture workflow, not really for genomic or NAP workflow. So that's why I would say no. As far as I know, we never tested the continuous loading for this kind of workflow, but it's a very interesting question, and I don't see why we could not do it. It's just that it's not a standard application. So yeah. So yes,
Divya, you want to
we
add
can
anything?
do continuous loading.
No, that she's got it.
Okay. I think Lawrence also had other questions. I'm just going to compile all the questions of Lawrence. So regarding the organoid sculpture, does Tecan have any performance data or published case studies for these specific organoid culture protocols that are available for review? And I think he also wants to understand the local expertise and tell us if there is a fully operational Tecan Fluent system configured for organoid research currently installed in UAE or the GCC.
Okay, I'll take this one. Yes, there is a lot of data in the Tecan website which actually talks about expanding different cell lines, be it stem cells or other cell lines. And there is also about how reproducible it is in producing organoids. Because when we talk about organoids, it's not just about expanding cell lines, but there's also another interesting device that we haven't spoken about. Maybe we could have another session for that. It's something called the spark cyto. The spark cyto
Yes.
is a world by itself. It's where you can have both the imaging and the quantitative parameters all done. So organoids culture, it's more about seeding density. So this gives you the details and integrities of this fragment size, the confluency, and you can actually monitor how your organoids grow from time to time. So there's immense amount of data in the Tecan website, and we'd be very happy to share that with you. And yes, we do have a system that has been installed here locally, which supports stem cells. It's set up in a stem cell lab, and it does support the expansion of mesenchymal stem cells. So the MSCs are being programmed into iPSCs, and they are performing studies for discovery in terms of Alzheimer's and other neurodegenerative diseases. So it's a very interesting study that's actually been set up currently. So right now it's at the phase of expanding these cell lines. And they are also planning to move on into having the organoids culture as well as 3D bioprinting them to study them further.
So I think Mr. Lawrence will reach out to you much more in detail to give these questions and answers as well. So I think we have time for 3 or 4 more questions. So I think we'll pick up Mr. MK. Does the face separation aliquoting need image capturing and analyzing levels, or how does it work? He's also added another question. How about validated scripts? Do we have open access to them?
So when we talk about face separation, yes, earlier it was based on an image-based system. But of course, that kind of limited, with the barcodes and other things that was stuck on the outside of your tube. So the Tecan decided that the better idea would be to have a pressure-based monitoring. So the face separation now works on the pressure-based monitoring which is based on it's a feature on the same arm as the FCA, which is a flexible channel arm, which performs most of the liquid handling. So the FCA it supports both liquid level detection and pressure-based monitoring as well. And that's where the face separation comes in. So as the pipette or as the tip moves down the liquid and it senses the difference in the viscosity, a real-time pressure-based curve is being generated and giving the system the information that, hey, you know what, this is a different viscosity, this is a serum, or this is a plasma layer, this is where you have to stop and aspirate it. So there is something called a face separator, which is a plug-in software. It's not a hardware, it's only a software. So even if you have a Tecan platform for just to perform sample aliquoting, but then you plan to progress into face separation, it's a plug and play. So it's a software where you feed in your details and then the system does the job for you. So it's not based on image capture, but it is a pressure-based monitoring system.
I hope that answers the questions for Mr. MK. And I think we have time for 2 more questions. There is one from Zaina Khaliji. You were talking about kinetic studies. Can you elaborate more on how the Fluent system can aid that? As in with ion kinetics, which are extremely rapid, how fast can the Fluent operate? Is it possible to adjust that?
So usually when we mention kinetics studies, it is with biological samples, and especially with cells, for example. So with cells, you could add every specific time a reagent, renew the media, cultural media. With ion kinetics, I don't think we have such application. I'm not aware about it.
So I think we can, Zaina, we can get back to you on that after further checking in with our much more higher technical people, and then send you that information to you.
So maybe Zaina, you could actually get in touch with us, because if you're talking about ion kinetics, are we talking about intracellular signaling here? Are we talking about certain pathways here?
Yeah.
That's the case, then yes, we could assist that with, because the reader can support fluorescence studies as well, luminescence-based studies. So if that's what you're looking at, we definitely can support that. And maybe you could get in touch with us and we will guide you along the way.
When we mention kinetics, we usually have analytical equipment associated with the Fluent. The Fluent is just your pipetting system, moving system. There is no analytical results delivered. If you integrate a reader or any other analytical instrument, then you can do a kinetics study.
Yeah,
Just
I
to
think
clarify.
yes. So we have two more questions. I think we can confirm. We're already over time, but one question is from Bhaskar Karubotula. I hope I'm pronouncing it correct. What are the maximum volumes we can operate with the instruments, and do you have any proof of concepts to work with environmental samples or systems designed only for clinical samples?
Maybe I can reply. So the maximum volume I would say in just one aspiration is 5 milliliter, okay, on the 8-channel arm. We can pipette per channel 5 millimeter. This is the maximum volume times 8 channel. So it can be also possible to in one sample pipette with the 8 channel together.
Okay, so I think we'll just okay. You wanna add more?
No, this is the maximum.
Okay. So I think last question we will take from PK with regard to organoid research. What device do you use for imaging? Are the Fluent models field upgradable?
Yeah. So yes, for organoid imaging, we're using something called the Spark Cyto. And like I said, we could probably have another session for cell imaging. So that
I
would be
feel like we should do. There are many intriguing questions that's coming in.
Fluent by itself, all by itself. So we have like different imaging modes in that, different optics supporting different imaging modes. So that'll be very interesting. And we'll also share the details about the Spark Cyto with you since we're running out of time.
We will personally share these details with you as well. Okay. So I think we are about yeah.
Maybe
Please.
just because I see an interesting question on the difference between Fluent and VEA. And I think this one should be answered to everybody. So yes, thank you. VEA is our last automation platform, launch beginning of 2025 in replacement of Freedom Evo. VEA will come with pre-configured configuration. So VEA, we have the VEA for genomics, VEA for proteomics, VEA for cell culture, and this configuration will be a kind of lock with a limited option. So the purpose of VEA is I would say in comparison to Fluent, it offers a bit less flexibility, but is more application oriented. Fluent really replied to very high throughput, very open platform, integrate. If you need a lot of integration, you should go to Fluent. I hope it's clear.
Okay, I think that's all we have time for right now. What an amazing session. I am loving the energy that was brought in by the entire team, the entire audience. And we're really glad to have this very interactive session. And I thank our speakers who's taken their time out of very busy schedules to come and impart these knowledges. And I'm sure they'll come back again for other sessions that is addressing many questions that you had. And that's the conclusion for today. So I hope you had some learning, and please reach out to us, and you can scan us and reach out to us for any further questions. This is Malavika Kanara signing off, and we'll see you in the next session of Leader Insights in January 2026.
Okay.
Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you for
Thank
your
you, guys.
interest, everybody.
Thank you. Bye.